Welcome back to part 2. My phone ran out of memory, so I had to delete a ton of things. Took quite a bit. So, whoops, is that in the way? That's kind of in the way. Scoot that back. Let's see, is that out of the way? Okay. So we're still going to continue with the tiger. And if this piece looks familiar, you guys, it is because I did paint this one, or I did this painting already. It is up on the wall here in the studio, but I'll have to turn it and show you guys. Let's see. It's gonna be a slow turn. Hold on. I am my cameraman as well. So if you guys can see, it is, doesn't let me zoom in, no, but it is right there. So yeah, this is actually one of my paintings that I wanted to share with you guys how to paint because it was a really fun painting. So yeah, now you guys kind of know where I got the inspiration for this one because it was, I can't really say it was an assignment, like it was an assignment when I was taking some courses through the Milan art program, but it was like my own piece. It was like, I was just following the fat over lean process, and that one's actually in oil. But this one I figured would be a really good starter piece to do for anyone that wants to learn some steps with even just painting in general, like acrylic and inks and like some of the different mediums you can use. So I figured it'd be a really good one to start with. So that's why I chose this one. I guess I could have explained that in the first video, but I'm explaining it now. So, good thing I realized that my phone wasn't recording, like, for the first video, because that would have kind of sucked if I would have just kept going and going and then realized after the fact, like, oh my gosh, I didn't record the entire thing. But yeah, I realized it fairly quickly, so this should not have changed very, very much. I was working on the darks, which that's what we're still working on anyway, but we are going down to the smaller Filbert brush. And I will put in the description to you guys where you can get the brushes, some of the things that I'm using. I will have some of the Amazon links of where I got a lot of this stuff. Excuse me. That way you guys know where to find some of them if you don't have them. Excuse me, sorry about that. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of spray down my paint a little bit, make sure it's not drying up on me. And then I'm gonna continue with the darks. And I will try to keep talking as I'm painting. It's just sometimes it is hard to talk and paint at the same time. I find it is. I'm trying to get better at it because it's easier to be able to talk, like especially doing live classes. It would be a lot easier if I was able to talk a little better while I'm actually painting. So let's see, this line needs to be a little darker right there. And this one actually goes down like that. Okay, so we're just going to continue with painting in the darkest darks. And like I said, these marks do not have to be perfect. Just make sure you're going in the direction of the actual fur. So that way it actually mimics the fur. So for instance, the fur that's right here is going down in this direction. So you're gonna wanna paint this direction. Up here, it's more this angle. So you're gonna wanna make sure when you're painting the fur that it's going in the direction you see the fur going in. So that way it looks more realistic. And I also realized down here I made such a clean line that this side will probably get your eye's attention more. So anything that's more fuzzy, it will push it back. Well, how do I explain this? When you paint realistically in the direction it's going and it looks like the fur, it's gonna attract your eye. But even lines that are sharp and defined like this will attract your eye more to it. Even though I kind of want the edges to be more abstract. Sharper lines, unfortunately, will attract your eye. So I'm trying to, I'll have to blur a lot of this out with some of the fur down there, but it won't be like perfect looking because I want it to be more abstract. So I will be able to cover up some of this, like straight edges and stuff when I get to that part, that section. So I kind of just wanted to explain that a little better as well. Okay, so now I'm just working on the pupils really quickly. There we go. And if you haven't sketched before, now is a good time to learn that. I guess I will have to do another video on sketching because some people, when they're drawing their subjects on, they want to round things out because they think that that's how you draw. But in all reality, you use straight lines in every angle that you see. So I will have to do a class on that specifically, on sketching, so that way your stuff doesn't look cartoony, because if you do it that way it will look cartoony unless you're doing straight lines. So I will have to do a class for you guys. And then I also realized that I forgot to grab my headphone, or not my headphones, but my earbuds, so that it was a lot more clear. So hopefully the audio isn't too muffled or anything. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm too zoomed in now. Okay. Let's see, let's work on this eye a little bit. And I cannot wait to see how everybody's piece turns out. Definitely tag me on Instagram when you guys are done. I would love to see your beautiful pieces. Let's see what else. Just want to make sure I get all the darks. And then I think I'm gonna go back in and do some more of the midtones. I really want to darken up the areas that need it. I didn't make them dark enough, but that's good. You don't want to go straight super dark in the beginning, just in case. Because if you go too dark, you can't make it lighter again. All you can do is cover it up at that point. So it's best to work your lightest colors to dark. So it's kind of like watercolor in a way, where you paint light to dark, and then once you get to the darks, then you go dark to light. So, okay. I'm kind of thinking I might be good on the darks. Oh, forgot the eye right here. Ah. Let me finish the pupil. Oh my gosh, you guys, I totally just ate some lunch. Bad idea. Eating lunch before filming. Okay, sorry if I'm body blocking, not trying to. Ah. Okay, so I'm just trying to get this pupil, but I'm making a giant mess. But that's okay, because I'm going to be painting over a lot of this anyway for the actual eye. Cannot wait to get to the eye. It's like one of my favorite things to paint is eyes. Eyes and hair. I don't know what it is about hair, but I absolutely love painting hair. So I'm gonna take a step back. Like I said, it's always good to take a step back from your piece, like 10, 15 feet, so you can see like what you might have missed, what needs to be darker, what needs to be done. Okay. I think I got most of the darks in. So I'm gonna be working on some of the midtones to make them darker, because I did not get it as dark as it should be. So I'm actually gonna scoop this back just a tad. Okay. And there's my towel. Alright, so this will be I'm going to do some more glazing. So I'm going to use some more of the gloss liquid medium here. If I can get the lid off. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to take a look here at my source. You know what? I kind of want to make another mark. I don't know why, but something's just telling me I want to make a different mark. I'm gonna water down some burnt sienna. And then make a giant mess on my palette. And then I'm gonna get some watered down the Luminous Rose by Holbein. Kind of want a bigger brush for this part. Okay, so I'm gonna really water that down. And then I'm actually gonna use a chip brush. And these are super cheap. You can totally find these at like the hardware store for like a couple bucks. Chip brushes are the very best, especially for doing washes. Yes, they are incredible. Okay, where's the pink? There we go. There we go. And I want to put some right there. Okay. Sometimes when you have the urge to do something, guys, with a piece, I highly recommend doing it, because I feel like that is like God's way of saying this is meant to be. I don't know like how else to explain that, but I just feel like sometimes it's just meant to, you need to do those urges on your pieces because it's supposed to be there. It just is. Almost all of my work, I have followed that urge. Not obviously when I very first started, because I was scared I was going to mess things up. Don't be scared, okay? Just go for it. Just wing it, because you never know what it's gonna do and how it's gonna turn out after the fact. But seriously, every single time I followed that urge, it has always been something that should be in that piece. So just some words of advice: always follow your instincts and gut feelings, because it will pay off, believe me. So I do need that bigger brush though to get some of these midtones in that I want to get in. I also kind of need to clean up that giant mess I just made. Big old puddle. There we go. Yeah, so I'm not sure why I had the urge to do that, but I did. So I listened to those. those urges. All right, so I also notice right here, I need to get some of the form in. So we're gonna just make a darker pinky purpley color. I'm gonna take some of this Luminous Rose and some of that amethyst, and I'm gonna mix that up. Ooh, that's gorge. We need some more of that pink. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, I can't wait till you guys see this color. I'm really gonna water it down just because that amethyst is very opaque. Oh, this color is pretty. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, that's gorgeous. Okay, so we're just gonna make a mess. It just sounds like a good idea. So we're going to do that. And then we're gonna put some in under here. And some right here. I'm using this as my mid-tone color. And I'm just gonna follow that all the way up here. Try not to forget the sides. And I want some right there. This side. Make that a little loose. I'm not gonna make that perfect, but I am leaving this spot lighter because if you guys can see, probably not, right here, it is lighter on the source. So I'm trying not to cover up that spot. And actually a little bit right here. There we go. And right here it's also lighter, so I didn't put it right there or in this area. This kind of is right here, a little darker, a little bit right there, a little bit right there. Oh, it's so pretty. I love this color. So it's definitely more of like a magenta, like a neon magenta color, but look how it's giving more dimension by doing this. What is that line? Don't want to go in there. I do want to go down here. So I'm just following, like, not the black fur, but the dark gray. So if you can't see it too well, just squint your eyes and look at your source. You'll start to get the artist eye the more you do value studies, because this, in a sense, would be kind of a value study, because you're working with like the different values, the lightest lights all the way to the darkest darks, and then the brightest brights at the end. So this is a really good way to start training your eye to see value. And the fun part about this is you're learning to, by having a black and white source, you're learning to use your colors in a way that you can see the different values as well. So And if you feel like you butchered a spot, don't worry, just use your finger to wipe it off. It's that easy. It really is. I feel like most of this right here is darker. Kind of got out the lines right there, but that's okay. Up through here is darker. Down through here. Let's just take it all the way down there. Yeah, you guys will eventually be able to see the values the more you paint. This goes all the way over. Goes into there just a little bit. Okay, so you guys, are you starting to see the form a little bit better now? Now that I'm finally getting some actual darks in there, or midtones. It makes it a lot easier to see. Definitely begin to see a lot more of the shape. This would be the nose area. Make it a little more defined. And then above this, bring the nose out a little bit. So anywhere that I'm seeing the darker gray, that's where I'm putting this color for my midtone. Let's see, where's that? Alright, I'm going to take a step back really quick just so I can see what other midtones I need to add. Okay, definitely need to focus on the right side a little more. So you guys having fun? Are you loosening up a little bit? Not getting so caught up and worried in perfectionism? Because that is like our enemy. Actually, we're gonna do this whole side of the face. Here. I keep wanting to go to the left side, I'm not sure why. Okay. And I am holding my brush sideways, so we also have some of that darkness through here. Where the lighter fur will be. And then a little bit up here. Mouth. I'm gonna actually darken that up, I think, with a little bit more purple. Just a touch, just to barely change that value, not a lot. A little more than a lot. It's okay. No worries. And through here, it is the darkest values. Some more of that dark purple. Where was I? Here. Excuse me. Okay. Bit up here, not a lot. Oh, there's that spot. Totally didn't see that because I keep focusing on the left side of my canvas instead of the right. Okay. All right, and the nose has a little bit of the darker value. Okay, I think I'm actually gonna mix this with some of that version of black that I created, just a tiny bit, so that it darkens it up. Because I kind of want to give the nose a little bit more definition along that line. There we go. Just to bring it out a little bit. This line, it's hard to see. So it's quite a bit darker. Let's see. With this dark color, I'm going to go right up the center right here. And kind of fill in some of the, just to kind of build the value with some of these spots that are actually significantly more gray. Because like I said, you want to work light to dark when you're doing glazes and washes. So just trying to build up that value a little at a time, not too quick. Let's see about this. Oh my gosh, I didn't even paint that spot in the eye. have to do that significantly darker. So I might have to go back in with the black, yeah, to darken that spot up. Alright, do I see any other spots that are way darker? Right there. Maybe right there. A little in the chest area and up here. So I'm gonna clean that brush really quick, and then I'm gonna get the little one again and create that black with the Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Green, Prussian Blue, and dioxazine Purple. And if you can, get in the habit of mixing these specific colors for your black. And you can influence it which version of black you're gonna need for the piece that you're working on. So if you want it to be more purple, you make it more purple. If you need it to be more of a black green, you can make it more of a black green. Just by mixing the colors enough to get what you're looking for. Okay, so because I missed this spot, I'm just gonna kind of color that in, because it's not like the darkest dark, but if you do it light enough and add enough of that glazing liquid, it will make it transparent enough that it's still lighter. There we go. Hopefully that's the only spot that I need to fix. Oh well, I mixed it just in case. Okay, so I kind of want to work on the eyes, and I think I'm gonna do like a blue. I did put out the light phthalo blue. I know for sure I want to use that somewhere, even on the background, which I probably could do right now before I do the fur, or the lighter fur. Because I do like making marks. So I do jump around a lot in my painting, which is good. You don't ever want to work on just the same spot. Let's see. Just to give it a little something else. And I was also taught that anytime you use a color on the outside, you want to incorporate that on the inside of your subject that you're actually painting. It kind of helps keep the piece cohesive and tied together. So it's always a good idea. And this is just random brush strokes. You can do whatever you want. It's your piece. But I just love this blue color, especially with the pink and like black. It just looks really good. So might even do some down here. Bring it a little over the piece. Because this is such a light or bright color, you could also use this as like a highlight if you wanted to. There's some of the spots, like even down here where it's like bright, where I showed you guys. You could also use that. And this is called dry brushing, when you have just paint, no water, nothing else, just the paint, and you're just lightly touching the canvas and you're very parallel to the canvas. You're just whoop, just light little brushes, and you're just picking up the texture of the canvas. So even like along here, I have to lift it up, get on the edge so I can do this mark. There we go. So I think I just kind of turn this into like my highlight color a little bit here. Okay. So now I kind of tied it in a little bit to the piece, but now I need to focus on the eyes. So because this is in black and white, you'll be able to use the values to determine how light or dark the colors need to be in the eyes. So, yeah, we're gonna work dark to light with the eyes. So take a look at your source and you're gonna just kind of study it for a minute. I'm gonna zoom in on mine. Oops, if it will let me. There we go. Okay, so you're gonna see the darkest areas. We've already painted in the pupils, the darkest darks, right? So now we're gonna go up a value and see what's just lighter than that darkest dark in the eyes, and we're gonna paint that in first. So since we used the bluer version, or at least I did, for my darkest dark with those mix of colors, I'm going to take this blue, the light phthalo blue that I used just to make some marks, and I'm gonna mix a tiny bit of that black that we made to darken it up. And I'm not gonna darken it much because I just wanna kind of see the value that I want, because it's gonna have to get lighter and lighter. So if it's not dark enough, you can add a little bit more. And it did change the color some, but that's okay. But a good way to see the value of it is you can hold your painting up to your brush up to your source to see if it's like dark enough to match the value. But what I'm doing is just kind of, I'm gonna create a dark and then get lighter and lighter and lighter as I'm working dark to light with the color I'm mixing. So in other words, I'll be adding more of that light phthalo blue with each value that I'm bringing up. So I'm gonna just put this where I see the next level of brighter dark, if that makes sense. And I probably should have got a smaller brush for this part. A round brush would have worked a little bit better for the detail in the eye. It's okay. And this is another reason I do enjoy using a tablet for my source, because I can like zoom in if I need to, versus if it was a piece of paper and I printed it out. Okay, then we're gonna come over to the other eye and do the same thing. We're just working on that same value. And it's okay if you kind of get it a little over the, like, over the area that you're wanting, because you're going to be going over this with lighter and lighter values. So don't stress too much about that per se, because you can always fix it. Remember that. You can always fix it. Don't think that you have messed it up and, you know, that it doesn't look good anymore. You can always fix what you think are mistakes. And sometimes they work out for your benefit. Just being honest. Which is kind of funny how that works. And I think this pupil I might have to fix just a little bit, because it's losing its shape. But good news is it's fixable. Okay. Alright, I think I got the darkest darks. Oh, or not darkest darks, but the next value. Dark. Didn't get the bottom half on this one. Okay. So at the very end, after I'm done with these eyes, I will go back in and fix the pupils a little bit, because I didn't use a round brush, which this is a round brush. It would have been a little bit easier. So now I'm picking up some of that phthalo, light phthalo blue, and I'm gonna mix more of that just to a corner of the color that we mixed to brighten it up some. And then just keep adding a little bit till you feel that it's like just the next color up in value. You don't want to go too bright too fast or too light too fast. Spray it down a little bit more. Okay, so now I need to do this line. Because this is how you're going to make your paintings look realistic, is by following the value and the direction and shape that you're painting. And then this corner right here, in this part, the eye is going to be a lot lighter. And don't do the white spot yet. We always save white for the very end, so don't touch that just yet. Oh man, I really wish I pulled the round brush. I might actually pull the round brush, you guys, just for this spot on this eye up here. Okay. And then a little bit down here. This side. Okay. Get some more on my brush real quick. And give it a spray so it doesn't dry on you. go. Okay, and we're gonna go the next value lighter. So we're gonna add a little bit more of the Phthalo light blue. Try to clean my brushes here as I go. And still mix in a tiny bit of that first color that we made because you want it to be cohesive. Bottom section on this eye, kind of colored that lower portion a little too far. I broke my first fingernail, so it's the one I normally use to smudge out lines if I made a whoops, and it's not doing me any justice. Okay. There we go. I think these blue eyes look incredible on this piece. When I originally did this one, I was just like glued to the eyes. I don't know what it is. Okay. I think I got that. So now there's 2 spots left on here that we need to do for the eye, which are a little bit lighter. There's this spot under this eye right here that's lighter, but it's not quite white. So I'm just gonna add some of that phthalo blue, or I'm sorry, the light phthalo blue. And I'm not gonna mix any of the other colors with it, but I'm just gonna add that right. You know what, I'm gonna use a round brush because that is too small of a dot to use this one. Okay. And these up here I think could be just a touch lighter. And then a little bit down here. Okay, and then all that's left in this eye is that white spot. You always do white last. But I'm gonna go ahead and, actually I don't even have any white out yet. Maybe I'll wait to do that white spot until I get my white out. And then I think I'm gonna go in and kind of correct the pupils a little bit with that round brush and the black that we made up. Just clean our brushes here. And it should still be wet enough that, oh yeah, I can use that. Okay, so we're gonna kind of just go in and fix the black part of the eye. I kind of lost the shape of it a little bit while painting some of the blues in there. The light blue. There we go. I'm gonna do it on this side. Just to make sure that we haven't lost the eyes. Barely gonna touch that spot because there is a dark line right there. Alright, I think there's actually one up here too that goes up to the white spot. There we go. Okay. So how's your eyes turning out, guys? Just looking at it, even in the camera, the eyes just like look so good. Okay. So now I think we can work on, let's see. We can go ahead and start working on the brighter fur. So everything that we left open, we can start working on the lighter and brighter fur. But again, we're still working dark to light. So we're gonna wanna paint the darker fur first and then gradually get to the lighter colors, because you'll eventually end with pure white, which would be under this eye, right here, along here, right here, a lot of this, some right here, and of course this area up here, this fur, some spots along here and here. And it's very hard to not do those first because we want to see it like really just sing, but you really have to teach yourself and have the patience to not touch that yet. So I'm gonna kind of clean up my palette here really quick. And I enjoy doing these like tutorials because I can take my time. I'm not particularly like a crazy fast painter, but I enjoy listening to my intuition a lot of times, and that kind of like diverts from what I'm what I'm painting exactly. But I enjoy that about painting. I really do. I like being able to listen to myself, and you know, if I see something I want to add or something, I can. Sometimes I wish I was a faster painter, but then again, it's just not my style, I guess. It's just not how I paint. But I feel like it lends itself a little bit better for doing like these tutorials. And I do like a clean palette. I'm very OCD, so if I've created a giant mess with some color, I like to clean it up so that way it's not influencing or mixing with any of the other colors that I'm trying to make. So it's a good idea just to have a really good palette etiquette. Get in the habit of cleaning up your space regularly, especially in between painting. Okay, so I feel like I got most of that up and off of the palette there. So I got a clean space to work with. All right, so one more spritz up here. And you don't want to add too much water because your paint will start to run and mix and make a muddy mess everywhere. I just do it enough that when I see the paint start to get that like coating on top, I'll just give it like 1 or 2 spritz from pretty up high. I don't do it like down on the paint. Oops. Okay, so let's do the darker fur. I'm going to take a step back real quick too, just to kind of register where I'm at on it. Okay, it's looking a little naked. The eyes turned out pretty good. They're popping. So now we really gotta, man, some of those areas look like they need to be darkened up even more. It's okay. I think I'm just going to go ahead and dive in. Although I do kind of want to darken up some areas. Now that I'm looking at it from far away, I kind of want to darken this up and through here and right there, because I just don't feel like it's dark enough. So I'm gonna grab my big Filbert. I do this to myself a lot. It's a lot of back and forth until you have it the way you want it. So we'll get there, I promise. We will get there. I think I did that with the purple and the pink. And then I'll make it a little darker with that, with the black that we made up. And then I'll have to water that down, make another mess. Okay, because this just is not quite dark enough. There we go. Like through here, it is pretty dark. So I'm just following the shape that I see that dark color. Right here, it's pretty dark. Okay. Darken up on here. You're definitely just going for matching the values. So if it's not dark enough, you can darken it up. So this is why my process takes so long, is because I really like to make sure I got my values in there. And I don't like to build the values too fast because it just doesn't do you justice in the end, because if I were to go in after I already did the like whites, it would really, I'd have to fight to get back to that. Like I'd put darks on there with a glaze and then I'd have to redo the whites in a sense. So it would just, yeah, kind of takes away from the loose work that you've been doing when you have to rebuild it. So that's why it's good to just work light to dark until it's where you want it. And by standing back, you'll be able to see that, the values where they need to be darker. So. So definitely take a step back from your work often, because it will help you so much be able to find those areas. Have gotten it to where I want it. I'll take one more step back. And kind of assess where I got it. So some of this nose is in shadow when you look at it. There's this white spot just along the edge right there. And it's a little lighter right here, so I'm not touching that. And a little bit right there. Make sure it's still recording. Ay, ay, ay. Make that a little darker too. that is looking pretty good. There we go, make it a little more abstract on that side because I don't want it to be too perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna take another step back, kind of assess where it's at. And some of this is drying on me, so let me spray that. Okay, so those darks definitely looking better. Okay. Nothing's standing out to me that I need to adjust, so looks good. All right, so now we're gonna work on the white fur, and we're gonna start with the darkest of the white fur, okay? Excuse me. This part, you're probably gonna use the least amount of water, period, if you use any, because we're gonna do a lot more dry brushing than anything, which is, again, you're just taking a brush with paint and you're lightly kissing, barely touching, grazing the canvas like parallel to it. So you're picking up the texture of the canvas. So like I said, we'll work with the darkest of the whites first. So, and then, how do I explain this? Okay, so to make it a darker version of the white, we're gonna be mixing in the colors we've used for our mid-tones, which would be the amethyst purple color by Holbein and the Luminous Rose. They were mixed together to create these mid-tones, the like purpley colors we just did, right? So you're gonna be using versions of that to like start from dark and then add more and more white till you have nothing but pure white. So that mixture I made already for my midtones, I'm gonna be using that with some of the white, but you're not gonna be using a lot of it, just enough to create that value with the darkest white. And again, you can hold up your brush to your source, whether it's the paper or if you have it on like a tablet or something or a screen, to make sure that you're matching that value in darkness, right? Because we're working the darkest of the whites first. And by using this color that we used for the midtones, it helps keep the piece cohesive because you're still using the same color, like colors that you've used throughout your subject. So it really helps tie it together. So the darkest of the whites, let me see if I can pull this forward so I can show you guys. So the darkest areas would be like the fur right here, some of it right here. I don't want to do too much at the bottom, just enough so that we're not drawing focus at the bottom, but it'll be very abstract. It'll be not as precise and, you know, cookie cutter looking. So that way people like won't be drawn to down here. We want them to focus up here. So the more realistic, more defined work will be on the face area, the head. So, but yeah, we're gonna be working with the darker fur first. So, yeah, I'll probably start on the outside. That's how I kind of work when I paint too. I notice that I work on my outside and I work my way into the center. So that's just kind of where we're gonna focus. Let me get my thing back where I need it. Oh, and of course the whiskers will be last because you work back to front. So the furthest away is what we worked on first, which would be the background. And then you work on the subject, but the furthest away and coming forward. So that's another reason I like to work from the outside in, is because this is the furthest away, and then the closer you get to your subject coming toward you, like the nose and the mouth and the fur, in this section would be basically like the last. So that's kind of how I work as I'm painting. So yeah, the darkest fur out of the whites, and squint if you have to, you guys, to kind of see it, but it would be like in this area, down here first, a little on this side, and then I'll probably work up this side because this side's darker. Oops, right here. This side's darker than this side. So just to kind of break it down a little bit on direction. So let me get my titanium white out before I forget, because I kind of need that. I keep thinking the gloss glaze medium is the white because it's white on your canvas, but it dries clear. It's throwing me off. Okay. I'm gonna keep my whites fairly distant from everything else, so that way it doesn't accidentally mix with anything. Hopefully you guys can still see it. We're going to be using quite a bit of white, so I am going to squirt out enough that I don't have to hopefully keep applying it. So I'm actually going to be using the big Filbert brush again for a lot of this. Maybe once we get to like the tighter areas on the face, I might get to a smaller brush, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to take that mixture that I had created for the midtones, with the amethyst and the luminous rose, and I'm just going to take some white. Just going to take a little chunk of white, and I'm going to mix that in there until I feel like it matches the value that I'm trying to get with the darkest white that I'll be working on first. So it's not going to be white. Nothing is ever just pure white except for maybe a tiny bit on any piece, honestly. So when I mean like white, this is the white that I'm working with. It's more like a pinky purple white. But as long as it's matching the value of the color you're going for, so I'm just holding it up to my source to kind of make sure that it's going to be a good value. It is actually pretty dark. I did mix it pretty dark, so that's good. Okay. Some of that's brighter. Okay, so down in this area right here, I'm just, like I said, I'm going to be doing this more abstract-y, so I'm not going to be very I don't know how to describe it. I'm giving the illusion of fur, so I'm lightly brushing this in some areas where that color is, if that makes sense, that value. Because I don't want to draw people's eye to the sides. That's just abstract land. So you want to keep it in abstract land. Okay, so, and you kind of want to, again, brush in the direction of the fur, so it still gives that feel of fur, but it does not have to be exact. So I'm just kind of dry brushing a little bit, scumbling a little bit. Try not to scumble too much. Scumbling is like mushing it, but try not to do that. You just kind of want to lightly put it on there. Because if you mush it, it'll start blending and it won't give you that same effect. Okay. So we're slowly going to be building up values again from dark to light. Comes down right here. So I'm gonna do just some light scratches right here. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of that paint because my brush is starting to, and I really don't want to squirt water on this, but I kind of have to because I don't want it to drown me. Definitely try to keep your distance with that because you don't want to overdo it. Okay, so this section right here is kind of going down. So I'm kind of just brushing downward. Again, just to give a direction of where that fur is going. And then I have to kind of pick up the canvas and put it on the edge. There we go. So this side kind of has it going this direction, down. So I'm just kind of going with the direction of the fur. And then but trying to keep it loose as well. Because I don't want it to be exact. Like I want it to be where it's supposed to be, going the direction it's supposed to be going in, but I don't want it to look too realistic on the outside, because you don't want the eye to be drawn there. Alright, so darkest white. I actually see some of it right here. It's kind of going down this way. In this direction. There we go. Okay, so the same color in the darkest of the whites is through here and up right here. So I'm gonna get some more of that same color. So that way it still matches the value. And so this is where you kind of want to give it more of the like fur stroke. So you're gonna do it as light as you can through here. We're not painting every individual hair. We're making it with this giant brush. So you're just gonna look at the shape of the fur and we're just gonna mimic that. Ever so lightly, barely touching the canvas, but make sure you're brushing in the direction that you see the fur going. Okay, get some more on there. We don't want to use water. I'm just misting it so that way it can stay moist. I had to say it. Up here is a little bit lighter, but that's okay. We still want some of the darker fur in there to create that depth. So in the fur, we're looking underneath in a way to see what's under each layer, and we can always add some lighter values on top of that. And again, if it helps, squint your eyes so that way you're actually seeing the value that you're working with. There we go. And then I see some right through here. And then up here is like the whitest white, so we won't touch that. We're just working with the darkest of the whites. I think I'm reminding myself of that too. That way I don't get too detailed too quickly, because I will. Also see some in here. And a little bit through here. A little bit through there. And manipulate your brush in any direction you need to make sure that you're getting the shape and direction that it's going. Okay, I did do some up here, but I don't think I did enough. Yep, I'm gonna have to get more paint. Because this spot kind of the darker. Here we got some of the darker up here, right here, along this side, along this ear. There. A little bit up in that. Let me get some more. I'm gonna kind of work on the nose a little bit. Make sure you go with the direction of the fur so it looks realistic. Starting to take shape here, slowly but surely. We just gotta work up to it. We don't want to go too fast. I think I tried to do that side before, but I didn't have enough paint on my brush. Okay, a little bit right there. Grab some more. It's trying to dry on me. Yeah, it's very hard to dry brush if you have any water. So if you need to add more paint, create that same color if it had too much water mixed in, because you can't really get the texture of the canvas if you have too much on there. Okay, so let's see, a little bit lighter there. So I'm slowly starting to get a little bit lighter in value, slowly. We don't want to do this too fast. Oh, yeah, I also am ambidextrous, so I do tend to use my left hand sometimes when I feel like I can't get the right angle. So I'll try to avoid doing that. This spot right here is a little lighter as well. So just, like I said, slowly going up in value. But we don't want to make the edges too realistic. So I'm gonna add just a touch of white, not much, just to bring it up a value, just barely. Okay, so and this side seems to go down in direction. So we are going to make sure that we are painting down up. Give it the direction it needs to be going. Some of this fur up here does have some darkness to it, not a lot, but I will be going over that with some lighter values here soon. Same with this side. And I know it's kind of hard to see right now, but as you get like lighter and lighter in value, it'll really start to show up. I'm gonna add some more white because I don't want to add water if I don't have to. Okay, so this spot is definitely getting lighter. So now you guys can start to see where it's really starting to take some form. This is hard to do with my right hand. So see how I'm just taking the tip of it and just kind of lightly mushing it, but pulling it. It's kind of giving that effect of fur. That's how you want to do it, but make sure it's going the direction that you see the fur going in. See up here, it's more up. And then this is more out. This spot is lighter. This spot has some lightness to it. And this spot has some lighter areas as well. But make sure you're going the right direction with it. And then just a little bit down here. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of take a step back, kind of assess where it's at. Mix some more paint in there so it's not drying on me. Okay, so let me just kind of see value-wise what I've got on there. And now when we do more of the detailed white fur, we will go probably down a size with the Filbert. ever so slightly, just brightening that value as I go. Ooh, pretty. Okay, pick up some more paint. And it might be kind of hard to see it right now, but like I said, you will start to see this really take shape, and why we save the whites for the very end. You will thank yourself later for being patient. I'm just kind of getting some of the whites right there in that mid-tone area. Here. I need more paint. What am I doing? Add some more white into that mixture. I'm still keeping it the same value that I'm currently working on. A little too detailed already. I need to slow my roll. Okay. Very easily overdo it if you're not careful. So this has some bright. There's some bright there. Try to make sure you're going with the same direction that you see the fur going. It's just a little bit at a time. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit on the chin here before I get too light. With the value. do see some lighter areas where we put this already right here. So we're just trying to build that value. But not too quickly. And not over the black. Trying to evaluate here what I've already done. Add a little bit more white. So like I said, we're just slowly adding a little bit more white to our paint. A little bit at a time. Woo! A little bit more than I wanted. That's okay. Okay. That. So sorry I'm not talking a whole lot, guys. I like to focus when I'm trying to paint. But just keep doing that. Just keep working on each value as you're going, and you'll start to see the magic happen. It's well worth it to build those values. A little at a time. You'll really start to see it come to life with each new layer. And then over here is pretty white, so I'm not gonna do that side just yet. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit more white. Spray that down, and I actually might make a new pile now where I'm gonna be adding more and more white to it, so it's getting lighter and lighter a little bit faster. And remember, keep going in the paint with the form that you're seeing. So you're keeping it. It's just on the end up here. Looking good. Same bright color, kind of like brighter color I'm seeing a little bit down in here that I was just doing on this side. A little bit through here, some on the end right here, a little bit right there. Pick up some more of that. Add a little bit more white to it. Quite a bit brighter. So I'm gonna work on some of the areas that were brighter in value, right along here, right along here, down through here. It kind of goes up into that spot, a little bit right there, a little bit right there. And you also see, so now I'm going to kind of just make some flick it out motions right there. Right here it kind of goes up and out, up and out. Here. Pick up some more paint so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Just go with the form. Okay, I do see some of that white right there. A little bit coming up this way. There we go. And then it is brighter through here. And this kind of goes up and to the left. This angle kind of goes to my right. Let me pick up some more. Slowly get into the brightest bright, not too fast. Just remember to take your time. Make sure it's still recording. I have terrible luck with phones. Okay. Then a little bit through there. Get some more paint. So we're getting close to doing the brightest brights. Getting close. Okay. So I'm going to take a step back, I think. Here it's starting to get brighter. Little by little. There's also some black spots right here that I did not get. What was I thinking? Whoops. Just kind of going with that shape right here. I don't have very much color right there. Over here it's whiter. I'm gonna get some more paint. It's starting to dry, so I'm gonna add a little bit more white to that. Give it a spritz. And then just do some of this spot right here. This is definitely why I use my left hand now and again. Just to get those angles that I'm looking for. Definitely lighter spots right there. Okay. Lighten that up just a tad. Along the nose right there, it is lighter. Right there. Let me get some more paint here. And right here. Keep getting it in that black. I'm gonna have to re-go over that spot. Let's see, right here it is pretty white right there. Okay. Now I'm gonna take a step back, kind of assess where I'm at, spray my palette. Oh yeah, it's really coming along. So let's wait till we get the pure white on there. Oh, it's gonna be so pretty. Guess I can do some more dry brushing in here because it looks like a little left out. Like it's missing some fur, but it's not. But by doing this, it also gives it that soft look as well. When you're just kind of scumbling around. There we go. Because that area was like dark, but it's kind of lacking. Okay. So let's go ahead and add the whitest whites. I'm gonna go down a size with the brush down to the smaller Filbert brush, just to really focus on the white whites, like nothing but white, pure white. And then a lot of that dried on there. So I might have to leave this brush in the water and go rinse it. Oh, that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna start with the white whites. So pure white. So you're gonna want a completely new pile for this. You only want white. Oh, you know what? Let's grab our round brush and do the white of the eye, because this is so satisfying. It is time for the white of the eye. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, now we got the white in the eye. And then we're gonna do the whitest whites. Oh goodness, this looks so sick on the camera. I really want to put oil on this so bad. Like, I have a problem. I love oil and it just makes everything glow and just, oh, it's so good. Okay, you guys ready for this? I know I am. Ha ha ha, so satisfying. Now keep your brush going the direction you see the fur going in while doing this. You're not gonna like mush your paint on there or anything. You're just gonna, I'm using just the side and going with the direction of the fur. Ugh, Is that not satisfying? It's like the best part. Okay. There's just a tiny little bit in there. And now we're gonna just do some little feathery strokes up in this brow. There we go. And then down here, it's kind of like a teardrop shape. So if you take your brush like this with the handle down and kind of go from top to bottom when you smush it, it'll leave like that teardrop shape that's in that corner. And then we're gonna lightly brush up with the direction that it's going in. And it kind of connects over there. And you don't want all your brush strokes to be the same, so you want to make sure you're alternating the way you're holding your brush and the way that you're using it, so it changes it up constantly, because otherwise all the brush strokes will look the same and it won't give the character that you're putting in your piece. And you'll also notice too, by painting the way we did, by painting in the midtones, you'll kind of see where the brightest brights will go, because it's like the brightest spots on your canvas. So in a way, you kind of road mapped where the darkest or the lightest fur will be just by the steps that we followed the process. So you made it so much easier for yourself just by doing that. Okay, it's coming along. How are you guys feeling? Is it starting to come to life for you? I'm just gonna dry brush on the side right here, a little bit through here. Lightly put some strokes of the light over here, so you can really start to see some of that fur coming to life. Need more paint. Ooh, top part, my favorite. My top part of the ear right here. How's it looking, guys? You feeling a little bit more confident now with kind of the process of things? And don't worry if it's not exact, if it's not perfect, and you know, you could probably paint this exact painting 6 times and it would totally come out different every single time, but it would improve every single time. So don't feel like yours isn't good enough, or that, you know, it's not how you wanted it to look. Just be patient with yourself, allow yourself to grow. Takes time. but the more you do this, you'll get the hang of like the process in which to paint colors and yeah, just the steps. Like overall, you will start to get the hang of directions as far as like the directions you need your brush to go and the colors used and how to mix certain colors. But I wanted this one to be a little more expressive, if you will. So that's why I chose to go with the colors and do a black and white piece for a source. So that way you can kind of learn how to see the value and read value off your sources. It will make things so much easier for painting. The more you do it, you will thank yourself later. Let's just say that. And it is fun to watch the progression of how you learn to paint. And like how you get better and better over time. It is fun to watch yourself grow. I think I cut off a little bit too much there. See if I can, there we go. This is a lot of fun. And it's super relaxing. I think everybody should paint more and they'd be less angry and uptight. That's just my thoughts and opinions on that. The white is like trying to dry on me. We want it dry, but let's see. Looks so good. And you'll also notice too with acrylic, it does tend to dry a lot darker. Than like oil paint. It just dries darker. It's kind of weird. Alright, get some more white. I kind of want to do this ear up here. Some of this fur up here. Some more paint. Yeah, that white makes such a huge difference. We're just gonna do some more like detailed fine lines up here. That way you can kind of see where the edge is of the fur. kind of like we did on this side. Just kind of doing it on that side where the brightest brights are. Get some more bright right there. Following the direction of the fur. It's looking good. Ooh, we should probably get that white of the nose too. Because there is just this little thin line that goes down to a teardrop at the bottom. There we go. And this corner right here, along the top right there. There's some white right there. A little bit of white there. Kind of in the center. Let's do under this eye because I haven't done this side yet. And I'm pushing it out toward the direction the fur goes with the side of the brush. There we go. Pick up some more white. And then, let's see. I think I got that side. I need to do this one. And then just a little bit this way. A little bit more in here. Wider spots on that one. That has white right there. That's white. This spot is really white. Yeah, this whole section right there is very white. There's a lot more pure white on here than I remember, but that's okay. And it does go all the way to the nose. There we go. And this section right here. Up through there, down here, and then over here is pure white. Oh, I forgot this was like a weird angle directionally for the fur. And then right there, and over. It's got some along here. Oh yeah, and this side. This way. Add some right there. Okay, so I'm gonna take a step back and kind of assess the piece again and see where I might be missing the whitest whites. And then when I'm done with that, we'll see where, if there's anything else I need to add to completely finish it. Okay, so I see some on the left side I need to do for sure. Just taking a step back. Noticed I didn't get a lot of this white section right here. Some really long whiskers on this kitty cat. And you can kind of do some of the whiskers you can use a rigger brush, which is a really fine line brush, or a round brush. Just depends on how steady your hand is, or if you're really good at using just the very edge of your filbert. You could totally get away with it. I didn't exactly give it some detailed whiskers on this side, so I probably will go back with a darker white. Let me do some more white work up here, a little bit thicker in some spots to give the illusion of thicker fur too. You could totally do that. This side up enough. Same with over here. I don't feel like I lightened it up enough on this side. And there are some I saw some more, but I'm gonna have to step back again to be able to see it. Maybe it was right there. Okay. I feel like I didn't get enough of the fur on the chin. Okay, I'm gonna take a step back really quick. See where else I need to put it. Doesn't look too bad. That's hard to kind of differentiate the background from like the main piece. So I could darken it up. I think I need to add some light through here. I think I see a spot. Sometimes I have to work pretty fast because I don't want to lose what I'm looking at. And this is okay if it's a little wet, but it wasn't exactly bright enough right there for me. Okay, so let me take a step back again. It's a lot of back and forth to see, you know, where you want the values and where they should be. It's actually looking pretty good. Okay, I kind of think I want to do some down in here. Go. Sorry, I just went right here. I forget when I'm recording sometimes to make sure I need to pay attention to my angles here. Make sure I'm not body blocking. Okay, so we could go and glaze some of the background to darken it up some. Now, if we do, it could potentially cover the white or the whites that we have put on there. So we can either try to avoid those, or we can just, you know, paint over it and don't care, and then just go back in with the white. But I feel like it's not, I feel like it's too close in value to the background that we still aren't getting that definition. The face definitely looks really, really good. But I really want to darken up that background. So let's take some, I'm gonna go with, kind of want to do brown, maybe like a burnt umber. Let's go with burnt umber. So I'm gonna use this one. This is Amsterdam acrylic ink burnt umber. If you need to take a screenshot or anything, but I'm gonna water it down really, really well. But I just feel like it's missing something. It just needs something. And then we will kind of go from there. So definitely water this down as much as you can to start with. And like I said, we can re-go over the whites with the white, but this just needs to be darkened up. We need to see some background happening. Maybe I can get some of the sides while I'm at it. And you can try to avoid the fur right here if you need to. If it causes you too much anxiety, you totally can. Oh yeah, just looking at the camera, oh yeah, that's good. Okay. And I'll go over a little bit. Let's go over it. Because we can always go back over that white. So don't panic. Do not panic. Okay, that is making it pop. It just needed something. And it's okay if you go over it. Like I said, fixable. We just needed a darker value to differentiate between the subject and the background. And the drips are cool. Don't panic. I can already tell, like, some people are like, oh. I'm losing my whites. It's okay. We'll get them back. Don't worry. Okay, I'm gonna take a step back really quick and assess. Ooh, that looks so good in the camera. Okay, take a step back. That burnt umber, oh, that just, oh, beautiful. Makes it sing. There we go. We definitely needed that. And then why not, just for fun, I need a drip of some like neon pink. That's what I need. Let's see how we like it. I'm just gonna take that Luminous Rose. I'm gonna add just a little bit of water, not very much, because I do really want this to show up. And really load your brush with that paint and that water. Like you really want a full thing of it, because we're gonna press down as we drag it across, kind of wiggle it. And then I'm gonna get some more on there with some more water, because I want this to drip, and you want it to be runny enough. Let me show you. You want it to be runny, but not like too runny, but then kind of pick it up with your brush, if that makes sense. And then when you press it down, it's gonna release that paint, and it's gonna make it drip. Oh. Is that not gorgeous, you guys? It needs more. It's not enough. Pick it up. I'm gonna press it down really good right there. And if you don't like the drip or where it's going, just take some paper towel and you can kind of wipe it up if you feel like it's invading a space that you don't want it in, or if you just don't want it to go that far down. So just, and then kind of scrape it up like this, and it'll make it go like even more. It'll keep the drips going. And I think I want to add some of that pink with the burnt umber that we watered down, and just kind of touch this area. There we go. Darken it up just a little bit. Woo! Isn't that fun? I like it. I think it looks really good. That's so fun. And it just gives it something else, you know? So it's not all same everywhere, you know? And then do I need like a pink mark? Actually, I might do that blue mark that I made, just to kind of bring it back a little bit. And then once that kind of dries up a little bit, I'll put the whites back in on the fur that was around the ears and the side of the face. So like I said, guys, even when you think you've messed it up, you haven't. Just go with it. Have fun. Make a mess. That's what we're here for. That's what life is all about. Making a mess and having fun. There we go. Didn't really want that drip, but these drips I don't mind. I think it looks kind of cool. And I love how neon it is. I'm gonna take a step back, look at it real quick. It's kind of a, oh yeah, that's pretty. I might, just make a mess, don't mind me. I might even kind of darken this side up a little bit more. Try to keep it out of the white. There we go. And then kind of clean up that edge a little bit. So how are you guys feeling? Are you doing some abstract marks? Are you letting yourself work free with this. I hope so. I hope you let yourself have some fun. That's the only way to get better, is by experimenting, having fun, and just going with the flow. I still have several pieces I'm working on right now too, and I'm like so excited. I'm doing a hunting dog or a working dog series that I've already gotten quite a few done, and this horse was not part of the working dog series, but it's just kind of a blessing that came in between that I like had to do. Had to do it. All right, I was talking too much that I forgot what I was doing. Ooh, pigment powders would be so fun on this while it's still wet. Easier to use with oil than it is with just water and acrylic, but you can still use it. I actually kind of want to do that. See, when you like get the urge to do something, do it. Let's use like a hot pink. Which pink should I use? Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. Alright, so you're gonna need a palette knife, and hopefully that's still wet enough that it will stick. I pulled this Pearl-X powder, one Mink and one Magenta, and I'm gonna show you. You can take your palette knife, get a little bit on there. Do not inhale it. Keep it like kind of far from you. But you can take your painting, kind of tilt it, and then you can kind of just do some drips on the wet paint from above it, and it will fall at an angle. You're gonna want to spray this with like a fixative spray, because this isn't an oil paint. Oh my gosh, look at that, you guys. Can you see the iridescence of it? So pretty. If it was an oil paint and you're using like Galkit or something as your medium, it would stick to it like amazingly. But because this is just acrylic and water, you're gonna want to spray a fixative over it. I'm gonna take some of this freaking magenta because it's gorgeous. And I'm gonna kind of sprinkle. That was a big old clump. Kind of knock it down a little bit so it spreads. But yeah, if you do it from up top and you have it at an angle, it will come down. Kind of want some that's on the top though. You guys can see. It did it again. That's okay. Kind of shake it down. See if I can be a little graceful with this. Please. Oh no! It was the same exact spot. I will get it. Dude, I felt like I sounded like a Skeksis right there when I was like, please. That was creepy. Okay, let's see if I can get it from the top more. There we go. Hopefully it's still wet enough to catch it. Kind of blow it from the top. There we go. That's cool. I had to add something, I don't know. I like to play with my art materials, and if I got it, might as well do it. Okay, and you guys don't have to do that if you don't have the pigments or whatever. Like, don't freak out. It'll be okay. Alright, so let's see. Oh yeah, the blue. So I'm gonna take this big ol' Filbert, get some of that light phthalo blue, and I'm kind of mimicking like the painting, my original painting, but not exactly. Like, I don't want it to be exactly like my other one, but just influenced a little bit. I'm actually taking some of this blue and putting it back in like where I had placed it before, just in some of the light areas, or bright areas, just to kind of keep it tied together.